Hello everyone and welcome to the channel, to another episode of Another Perspective. On this episode, I want to talk with you about time change or the daylight saving time, how things are being worked by the European Union and for us that are living in Europe, what is going to happen and how that will affect our lives. So let me already go for the article. This article is from Euronews. This is an article from October, but I just recently saw it. And this is a little bit concerning because I say that speaking for me, in my case, it's a little bit concerning because I'm living in a country that another time change backwards will be very, very complicated to deal with. What do I mean with that? I'm going to explain now, because the thing here is, for instance, I live in Portugal right now, and living in Portugal, if you change another hour backwards, what will happen is that when you reach summer, you will have a day, for instance, starting at something like 4 a.m. because the day here, when it is, for instance, the summertime, the day starts at around 6:30 a.m. If we would work with the winter time year round, it would be like 5 a.m. Would start like 5:30 a.m. If we go another hour backwards, we will start our day at 4:30 a.m. So the light will start to come by at 4:30 a.m. That would be a very, very complicated situation for us because imagine someone that has that goes to bed, imagine like 2 in the morning or 2 in the two at night. Okay, so 2 a.m. and 4:30 a.m. the day is starting to rise, and that will be quite concerning. So let's go to the article. I was already scrolling down so you could see the some of the text. This link you can see below in the description, so you can access the description, the link in the description, and see the video. Unfortunately, I'm not, of course, for due to copyright measures, I'm not going to show the video because the video rights belong to Euronews, but you can access their page and watch the video. As you see, this is just another perspective, so we will keep everything going on according the rules and the laws. So the article says, here's after the proposal to end seasonal changes of time across the EU was first released, Europeans will also have to again set their clocks. So their clocks back, a practice that's unlikely to change soon. So As I said before, this article is from October, the end of October. As you can see here, the date 28th of October. So, let me just, okay, let me just, so I can see that, I'm sure that we won't have any other issues with this. Okay, so here we go. Moving on. The European Commission unveiled its proposal to abolish the time change in September 2018, following a public consultation on which an overwhelming majority of the 4.6 million European citizens who took part called for the practice to be brought to an end. The proposal was then rubber-stamped by MEPs in the first half of 2019. But until today, nothing happened. It says Jakob Dalunde, a Swedish MEP from the Greens, said the political system cannot handle all things at once. Not to talk about Brexit, but one of the biggest examples is that it's been very difficult for UK politics to handle other societal changes while Brexit was happening. And right now, the European system has to deal with a lot. And that's a reality. As we see here, EU leaders are now wrestling with the war in Ukraine, which has pushed energy and food prices to new heights, hitting European consumers and businesses hard and threatening to push the economy into recession, which it is what we are dealing right now, unfortunately. So this will be something that will take a long time until decision comes. I just want to say I'm sorry. That is a notification that keeps appearing in my system. It's because of other work I have. I forgot about the notification and it keeps appearing. So I apologize for that. I'll try to avoid it the best way possible, so it stops appearing. So as I was saying, so the DST, or the daylight saving time, was first introduced in Europe in 1916 when Germany, still at war, was trying to reduce consumption of coal so it could be used for its weapons factories. Most neighboring countries, as well as UK, US, and Australia, followed suit. The practice was mostly abandoned in Europe after World War II, but was brought back again in the 70s due to the oil shock in a renewed bid to reduce the need for artificial light and energy use. A number of studies have since shown that its impact on energy consumption is not negligible, thanks in part to advances in technology. Evidence is, however, mounting that DST has adverse effects on health, which is a reality. I speak for myself, and this is one of the things that they are saying, right, that the article says, at least for me, it happens: digestive and immune related diseases in the week following the shift to DST, which at me happens a lot. They say here, for a week, most of the times I have like a month trying to deal with the hour change. And I will give you, for instance, a very a very small example. For I in the place I'm living, I'm not very far from Spain. So time to time I go to Spain and I go there for 2, 3 days. Me going to Spain is 1 hour difference, is 1 hour more. So just this thing of going to Spain for 2, 3 days and have those changes in my habits of sleep and my habits of eat, it doesn't seem a lot, but it's a change that always affect you in many ways. So this is something that, no doubt about it, it should be addressed, because if the change between countries already affects people, imagine, I speak for myself, this change in your own country, which is horrible. So, and they give you, so you will see in the rest of the article some of the examples that they show. For instance, in Europe we have 3 time zones. So we have the Western European time. Here we are. I'm going to show you. So the Western European time, which you have the UK, Ireland, and Portugal, and then the Central Time, which is the majority of the countries, and the Eastern Time, when we have the Baltic and Russia, Ukraine, Turkey, not Russia, sorry, but Ukraine and Turkey and so many other countries here, they have the Eastern Time. So the thing here, the thing here is the idea of building 4 times instead of 3. So, as they said, turning back the clocks. What they mean? The initiative has come up with its own proposal that would see European countries split into 4 different time zones, mostly based on the current winter time, which I must admit it seems very logical to me. But these 4 time zones are the ones that best align our social time, our clock, with what we call the natural time. So the geographically correct time, if you want. Explain Mr. Gell. I think I'm saying right, Gell. So imagine the UK, France, Spain, and Benelux countries would be under the same Western European time zone, which is the current one. And the EU countries in this zone would actually be setting their time an hour back from their current standard time in order to retain an hour difference with a new Azores time zone in the west and the Central European time zone in the east. So the thing here, and I saw here uh, also something else. That's Spain and Portugal. That's this one. Spain and Portugal would be in a different time zone. However, with Lisbon aligned with Iceland in the Azores time zone, say, which Gal doesn't see as much of an issue. And this is something that I have to say to Mr. Gal, that, my friend, that's a huge issue, because I'm going to show you more consistently here. So this is Portugal in yellow. and a little bit at the left, so Portugal is here, right? This is Azores. So, okay, not that big circle, so a small, sorry, a small circle here. This is Azores, this is Portugal. So we would have actually, or in this case, today, for at today's time, if you look at your clock, in the normal time, like London time, you have, imagine it's midnight, it's 00 hours, which means that Azores would be at 23. So it's 1 hour less, which so far so good, because whatever we want or not, between Azores and Portugal, there is a difference of uh, of uh, of distance. The situation here is that, in the case of Azores, Azores are in the line of Iceland, which for Azores it would be much of a problem to keep that time zone. The same way that I'm very sorry, I just made this big. It was not my idea, but okay, I just make Iceland too big. The thing here is, in the case of Madeira Island, that for instance it's here, so this is Madeira, and here in the top, or in the middle, there is Azores. For them, that change would not affect that much because of distance. The same thing we cannot say about Portugal, because if you see and if you look to the map, Portugal, okay, so sometimes this just goes too big, too quick, and I don't understand why this goes too big, but anyway, Portugal are not, or are in the same line as Iceland, but that line is just a thin line, because if we go a straight line, we would, uh, if we go a straight line, we will see Portugal in the, like, reaching Iceland just in the east of Iceland, which means that our our equality would not be that logical. More more important of that is that for Icelandic people, an hour less, an hour more, will not be that serious, because Iceland has long long days in summer and have long nights in winter, reaching just between 2 hours to 2.5 hours of daylight in the north, and be around 4 hours uh, of 4 hours of daylight in the south. So for Iceland, that problem is not really that big. For Ireland, that would be a bigger situation, because everyone knows the disputes that exist between the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland. So if the Brexit was a problem, imagine in the same place to our systems, which can be disastrous. And in the case of Portugal, as I said before, having in the summer a day starting at like the lights, the sunlight start to come up at 4:30 to 5 a.m. It's just not logical for the biological system of the people, that lives in Portugal, like me. Living in Portugal right now. It would be or it can be a very big problem. You might be listening me and think like, what is the problem? It doesn't seem much of a problem, but believe me, if you're not used to have that continuous daylight with you, and for you to be able to sleep, it is a very complicated situation, because we would reach a situation of, like in the peak of summer, so in summer solstice, we having the daylight starting at 4:30 a.m. and the night we have like the dusk at 4:30 and dawn at 7:30 or 8:30 instead of 9:30, that what we are used to have. So this is a discussion that has been since 2019. Now that we will have the Swedish we will have the Swedish government as well, assuming the presidency of the European Union. That might be an issue that they will take in consideration, but we don't know if they will really give it a go to this, since we still have a war going on, and the situation that we are enduring in Europe with the war between Russia and war between Russia and Ukraine. So this is a situation that we will keep watching, and I'll keep as well watching closely, so I can bring you the best information about this situation in the future. Let's see how this will go for now, with the new let's say 6 months government that Sweden will have, and let's see if they will take on this proposal for the future. One thing that we have to see is that even Sweden takes on this situation, this will be something that will probably take around 3 to 5 years to start working on. So until everything starts to work on properly, it will take its fair amount of time, no doubt about it. So that's what I bring for you today, and that's what I bring for you today of another perspective and about this article. And as always, keep an eye on the NAC social media, and of course you're in the here in the YouTube channel, where there is always new things coming on. And yeah, that's it. Don't forget to like and subscribe the channel. Also give it a comment. Tell tell us what you think about this situation of uh, the daylight saving time, how that affects you in where you live, and how what do you think about the possibility of being abolished and the new systems that are coming on. So that's it for this episode. Until then, take care and see you next time. Goodbye.